We are live.
Okay, yeah, we are live. Good morning, good afternoon, evening. We streaming and whoever watching around the world in states and yeah, locally. So welcome to American Dream Life, where we keep exploring topics around how to grow your beliefs and become a united human being. And today I'm so excited to bring a guest to the show, Olivia. And it's a kind of funny story because we got connected with a mutual friend, Katya.
Yeah,
And yeah, I'm kind of so grateful for her to keep bringing connections. And we connected as so she was connected by another friend. So it's like the world getting smoller.
that's how it goes.
Sure, yes, definitely. So yeah, so that's beautiful, and I was happy to connect her with others. So yeah, so that's definitely so. But today is about sharing, uh, growing those beliefs and become united human being from the perspective of Olivia. And to before we kind of start the discussion and sharing some more golden nuggets, I would love you, Olivia, to introduce yourself and to share a bit of background, your juicy story.
Oh, the dreaded question of who are you and what are you doing?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so hi everyone, and thanks for having me, Wioleta. Well, I'm Olivia Bella, and yeah, I was born in Hungary. In case nobody knows that, where we have a very difficult language, Hungarian. But I do speak other languages, English and Spanish, and used to speak some German and Greek and French.
Wow, that's beautiful.
um, yeah, I spent the last 15 years living abroad, basically in many different countries, including the United States as well for a little while, and the UK, Switzerland. But I spent most of my time, I would say, in Spain. So yeah, right now I'm still living in Spain in the south. And yeah, and otherwise I'm a writer. I'm also a photographer. I recently started working with photography as well. Overall, I'm really quite an artistic person, I would say. Like that's my main profile, but I can be also quite businessy, you know. So yeah, I sometimes help businesses as well through my work, and I think that's how we got connected through a spiritual group through Katya. So I always had, a lot of different interests in the background. So a lot of different things.
That's beautiful. Be kind of exploring different interests and
Yeah.
sounded like your focus right now is more on the artistic one and self-expression in different formats like
Mm,
the poetry
yes.
and photography, which is kind of beautiful. That sometimes I don't know, did it started that way or be kind of was turning like more to the passion from like a hobby interests or
Yeah, good question. It wasn't entirely intentional, like, oh, I have to do this, you know. So yeah, it's been more of a passion. As for writing, I've been writing for quite some time, not poetry though. So poetry, I would say I've been writing poems for about 3 years on a regular basis. Before that, it was maybe just a few poems here and there, all right? But as for writing, I've been writing for quite a long time, mostly like blog posts, articles, things like that. So it was not so much of the creative writing, but more of I guess it was also some storytelling, storytelling, because storytelling is always the important part of everything you do, even if it's like a business email, I would say. So yeah, so yeah, I started writing, and then I became really, really into it, especially because finally I found a way to tell my stories, tell and express those feelings, process those emotions I've been going through. So poetry really served me very well to do that. And that's why it became a path for me that I'm truly passionate about. So yeah, I got to a point when oh my God, this is the main thing I want to be doing, writing. So yeah, I've been working on a book. I have published a book recently, and I am currently creating my second and third books as well. So lots of content on the way.
Awesome. So
Yeah.
the other one will be also poetries or some other?
Yeah, actually, yeah, there are mostly like 4 books actually that are like in the making. Of course, I cannot work on each and every one of them at the same time. And as for ideas, like the second one is like halfway done. That's also a poetry collection. There is a book, however, I'm working on that is not only poetry. I also, it will be like a collection of short stories as well. So it's gonna read differently.
That's beautiful that you choose to explore different genre. That's how you pronounce that.
Yes.
And sharing the stories and kind of bringing that's how we kind of learn, the storytelling. It's recently I'm hearing more and more people bringing that in their programs,
Right.
in their business. That's how people relate to each other. They feel they find some common ground with each other through the storytelling. They can connect with you because they can somehow resonate. Oh, she had that kind of experience or that experience,
Exactly.
and creates that connection, and resonates the message. The person is more open because feel like, she could be my friend. We went to similar experiences, so I better listen. What she has to say. So it creates that. And kind of Ethan, I know, like in my profession, being in real estate for many years, it also helped, instead of just explaining to my clients in kind of dry format the complication and
Oh
nuisances.
yeah.
Sometimes were necessary, but many times what helped was bringing some stories from the past experiences. And I had to be kind of careful for confidentiality purposes and stuff, and
For sure.
not sharing names or something, and making kind of to a point of almost disguise like a novel, so people cannot guess who that person is.
Yeah, you better put a disclaimer on it as a fiction. Yes, that's how we connect and relate.
Sure,
I
definitely,
couldn't
yeah.
have said it better. Yeah, exactly.
Sure, yes, yeah. So when I kind of got my business growing and getting to more referrals, that was becoming like I really had to be like double careful because it would
Oh,
potentially like indicate when people were talking to each other that it's possibly that I'm talking about that person or this person experience. So
right. I get it. Yes, you
yeah,
have to be a bit,
sure.
careful. Yeah.
I'm kind of working on my coaching practice and becoming a guide. I still kind of working on that word coach. I rather kind of call myself a guide, possibly coming from the business background and real estate background. So
Yeah.
also bringing some experiences, and again, because of the clients, kind of not sharing like, oh, this that person and stuff, but also kind of sharing some experience or sharing my own. Actually, sometimes it helps as well. That's also
Of
something.
course.
Sure,
Yes.
learning, keep learning, and how vulnerable, and that's kind of indicates some connection when it's even a kind of test for me when a person is opening up. And sometimes I'm no longer actually surprised, but at the beginning when it was happening, when the person starts sharing more vulnerably, kind of deeper, I was like, what's going on? And they were like, what's going
Oh,
on?
yeah.
And
It can be quite
sure,
vulnerable and maybe uncomfortable as well, to share about ourselves or even hear out other people,
sure.
when they get to
But
that
learning how to
stage.
create that kind of safe environment,
Oh,
and
yeah.
we get to actually be open first,
Mm.
to create that, and for other people to feel safe that they can share it more vulnerably, and open up. And I kind of said that, well, that's usually when, doing lots of personal development and kind of more of a spiritual work and stuff, opening up like my mind, my heart, kind of putting down some walls. It's that indication that that person feel that connection, and I feel kind of more open to share as well with them. So it works kind of both ways. It's two-way street. So
Both ways, yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Sure,
Yes.
definitely. Yeah. So did you experience something like that, or?
Of course, always, like even in just personal relationships, that's how it goes. Making friends, making connections. It can be something very subtle, but it's always there. And I think if we want to have meaningful experiences, there is no other way in life than to drop those walls and be vulnerable. So
Sure, definitely. Yeah, and many times
yeah.
it's kind of our past experiences that kind of being relived, and not allowing yourself,
Mm,
to go, like you had mentioned, kind of going back to the poetry and stuff like that.
yeah.
That self-expression help you somehow process some of the feelings, and
Yeah.
potentially open up that. And it's definitely very vulnerable. I check some of them, and I still like, sharing some kind of juicy details like that.
It is, yes, it is. It can be very revealing, like as a poet, as a writer, you really pour your soul and heart and soul out there and for the world to see, But I know that it's very healing and very relatable. It can be also entertaining. It depends on the topic,
Sure.
I did write a good amount of sad stuff as well, very heartbreaking things that I know a lot of people also went through, but I also write happy things about love, and then I also write sensual things, a lot of them. So, which is fun. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Yes.
sure. So, um, we've been kind of working like getting on the topic of how to grow your beliefs, become united. What it's all about is to have those experiences, and you just kind of share like with the poems that you write about sensual, some stuff, and like more happy love stuff. Um, so that's kind of the unity creating that there are kind of both sides of bad and good, and how to experience both, because many times we somehow stuck ourselves in one kind of, and that when it becomes kind of limited belief, that
Mm-hmm.
we cannot do it, because of like past experiences, potentially bad experience, and
Yeah.
keep bringing that bad experience forward when we see some similarities in the new experience, instead of
Oh, yeah.
taking a different choice. And how about if that time I choose differently and experience that it will be good experience, and how I will feel around it. And that kind
Mm.
of creates that wholeness within that we all have, as born, and through experiences, through some programming environment. It somehow we forgot, so we get to actually be reminded about it. And there's definitely quite a work on kind of self development, and getting to know yourself, to kind of to find out where those limitation, and it's a journey. So I was,
Yes.
yes, tuning in more and more, and like, seriously, I thought I work on that. so so it come back eventually, at some point sometimes. And again, because there's still something there for me to work out, and not be
Mm.
that kind of resistance, because that's another kind of point. When we resist that, the more we kind of experience that, it's like we're being brought to look at it, and many times it is
Totally.
uncomfortable. and but until we look at it and process that, it will be coming back.
It is, yes. You know, they say that healing is never so linear. It's more like a spiral, you know, like you feel better at some point, and then later something comes up that perhaps triggers you and then makes you revisit the same old issue, but now with the next level of consciousness. Does that make sense?
Sure, definitely, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we usually, I mean, I can speak for myself only. Like we heal and learn in segments or like in little bits per se. But I think that's fine, you know, as long as you are moving forward and progressing and set the intention that you want something better, that you want to feel better, you want to, you know, get over something, then eventually you will be able to.
Sure, definitely, and that's the overall title is American Dream Life. So those
Yeah.
kind of limited beliefs shouldn't stop you. You get to actually live your dream and have the vision and feel that freedom, not feeling that it has to be certain way because of some circumstances. Many times we talk ourselves to something, and the whole idea kind of came from support of immigrants and minorities and
Mm,
people that looking for this transformation
right.
to experience that it doesn't have to be, you know, because like we usually the worst critic of ourselves, and with
Yeah.
tell ourselves that no, we cannot do it, and guess what, that's what will show up, and some evidence, because that's how our mind works, to like show us
That's
the
right.
proof.
Yes.
So
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah.
so yeah, so that's what will happen. So and I saw it way too many times with moving to United States, those limitation, and I was like perplexed. I'm like, hello,
Mm,
you coming to the land of freedom, you looking for better opportunities, why you like feeling stuck and that you cannot move forward, you kind of living some mediocre job, a mediocre life,
right.
and yeah, something that you possibly had in your own country, and you came for something different, and somehow your mind uh, got you back to wherever you were. So it didn't matter that you traveled thousands of miles, if somehow your mind quickly closed around the newness of the culture, the country,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and they and you just kind of stuck and kind of feel sorry for yourself, and that you cannot go forward. So that's kind of what I saw so much. So and I know that some people, like, I know how much was it that I came as a teenager, just finished high school back from Poland,
Mm-hmm.
and I was more open and adventurous to explore, and I was always interested in languages and cultures. So that for me was, well, there was some challenges of that newness, but also kind of fun to explore, to learn more about the cultures,
Yeah.
and being more open to the experience, to see kind of the other side. We travel so much, and why not, you know? Even though there were some resistance that I didn't want to be here. So
Oh, yeah. Like you didn't want to be there?
I'm sorry.
Some resistance. You mean that you didn't want to be there?
Yes, yeah, it took
Oh,
me
okay.
years because I felt that because my family moved, I had to go. It wasn't my kind of choice. The
Oh, yeah.
choice was
For
made
sure.
for me. So,
Yeah.
and as a kind of rebellious teenager, why I have to do something somebody else
Um,
telling me to do?
but I think now you are grateful,
Sure,
right?
yes. Over
Yeah.
the years, yes, definitely the experience, and honestly, understanding more recent. I'm getting into a deeper understanding why I came here, what was the reason for it, to actually create that unity,
Mm,
through the experience of different cultures, different experience, different circumstances, because what was resisting to a certain degree wasn't just being teenager, but also coming from the culture that was pretty much like just one nation under one almost one religion. That was like everybody else was just tiny minority, tiny percentage, and here is that melting pot of so many
Exactly.
cultures,
Yeah.
so many languages
Yeah.
to and exist. So it felt like, well, I'm just a tiny dust here.
I mean, yeah, I can definitely relate to that. You are just a tiny piece of the puzzle.
Sure,
I
that,
don't know. I think it's also very freeing, when you're in a place like that, as
mhm,
opposed to your home country. I
mhm.
don't know. It's like, it's quite freeing, I think. And I'm glad you went with the adventure
Sure.
eventually.
Yeah, so I'm glad what
Yeah.
you shared, yeah, about that. It was freeing because of your adventures. It seems like you've even created more adventures for yourself and travel even more countries,
Hmm.
not just coming to United States. So share a bit about your experience here when you came. So
In the States, right?
yes, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it was. I didn't go there alone. I was with my ex, and he got a job there in New York, so we moved. That was it. It was like it didn't last too long.
Okay.
I lived in New York for less than a year.
Hmm.
I wish it lasted a bit longer. Sometimes I miss it. So at some point, I plan to go back at least to visit. It was a great experience. At times, it did stress me out a bit, like the city life, the big city life, but also the buzz. It was quite inspiring at the same time, and it's a great city. I often felt like I was walking on a movie set. Like the first time I arrived there, I saw 50 Cent, the rapper guy, their musician at the airport, and then some celebrities in the corner shop. So it was like,
Hmm.
interesting, as I say, walking on a movie set kind of feeling. And I met a lot of great people. As you said, it's like a melting pot of nationalities and cultures. I made really good friends there, many of them from the city and many of them from different countries. And we are still in touch, and they are all very inspiring people. So I'm super grateful for that time of my life.
That's beautiful what you
Yeah.
shared. The funny story, we landed in New York City too.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yes, yeah, in 94. And because we were from the
Yeah.
smaller town, it was my father was there for a few years, and then his
Okay.
family to come and join him. So he showed us around, and um, I wish probably he took us to like Manhattan and stuff that we were kind of wowing around it, but he took us to I think Brooklyn kind of area on a
Mm-hmm.
day that they were doing trash, and it wasn't the nice view of like those black bags, and some of them stuff was flying out of them, and we were like, is that kind of New York, like
Yeah,
seriously.
this
So
that's
we must,
also
yeah,
New York.
yeah,
Excuse me.
like yeah, we
Yeah.
have to figure out a better place for us to live. so, so we,
Yeah.
yeah, we were like no, and we had the opportunity. Possibly we would just be there, but because my mom's cousins were living in Western Massachusetts, where we kind of felt more at home, like more New England. That's the kind of
Okay.
the region
Yeah.
that we felt kind of more at home. And I remember for like, I don't know, it took me probably years when I was discovering some similarities to feel that kind of some connection with this country, like even flowers. I still enjoy flowers, and I have
Oh,
some fresh
flowers. Yeah.
behind me.
I
And
can see that. Yeah,
yes,
nice.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and when I saw some like there were some flower pots or something that I saw in Poland, I'm like, wow, they have those flowers in America. So
Oh, that's sweet. Then you could feel a bit more at home as well.
sure, definitely. So
Yeah.
I was so excited about it.
Yeah.
So that not everything was different, and creating those experiences, and
Mm.
And I went. I choose to go to actually college, and go through schooling, and people would be asking me. I study some like English, British actually back in Poland, and came and
Mm.
I get to actually go through some ESL. They call it English as a second language
Right.
classes, and then started taking the classes, college courses, and people were like, how do you do it, like, do you know perfect English and stuff? I'm like, I don't. Sometimes I would be sitting at the beginning and just trying to underline some words that I didn't understand in the books, textbooks or
Oh
something,
wow, yeah.
and to have a better understanding. And at some point I dropped it, and my vocabulary was keep growing,
Yes.
and learning from that. And I was even sharing with others, like, you know what, I just, like trying to get a somebody sharing and stuff, get an idea about it. I don't need to know every single word what they're saying. And over time, with the vocabulary. And the funny thing, actually, I want to say, like, I believe one of the ESL professor had mentioned, like, if you missing some word and you want to find out how, so the quicker way would be asking somebody, describing what word you're looking for. So it somehow got to some kind of practice for me, that it got reversed in my Polish. Like, I lost in my kind of like temporary some word that was pretty common, and I'm like
Mm-hmm.
describing to someone, a
Oh
Polish
wow.
person, yeah, can you help me, that's that thing, and I'm like laughing. I'm like, I pick on like how I was learning English to, to transfer that to the Polish, to so that was kind of funny experience. I'm
I'm
like,
sure, yes.
yeah,
It's
I'm forgetting
like
it.
an exercise. Yeah.
Sure, definitely. Yeah, and you
Yeah.
had mentioned you have plenty of experiences with different languages
Yeah.
and countries. So yeah, so what kind of help you learn the new language? And
How did I learn new languages, you
hmm
mean?
sure.
Um, well, reading, talking to
hmm
people, I just dive into it. I'm basically self-taught, not for the most part, but of course, like I got the good base knowledge in high school because I went to a special language class and we had language classes every day. So I got a good base for German and English. That's what I learned at high school. But I don't know. Excuse me, I'm making so much noise here with my jewelry. So,
hmm
yeah, so I studied that in high school, but then I learned way more once I moved abroad, you see, when I actually had to use the language in real life, because that was so different than just from textbooks, and for grammar and things like that. That's boring. But like when you actually live life and when you go abroad and you have to work in that language, you have to take phone calls, make phone calls in that language, make friends. That's a different story. It's very challenging, but it works. And of course, if you have like friends or boyfriend or girlfriend in that from that country, that's even better.
Sure, definitely. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
definitely. Yes, yeah. And I definitely, I know when I came, it was like I had mentioned about the challenge, but that was the best,
Yeah,
putting myself and immersing. And at the beginning, I was at the stage back in Poland, and that was high school, was actually private lessons that I was
yeah.
studying British. I have actually Russian and German in high school.
Mm,
And so anyhow, um, so I was so proud of myself that back
yeah.
even in Poland, the British, I started actually understand them. So I was like, I'm so excited. And I came, we landed in States, and people were like having different accents
Oh
and,
yeah.
and talking pretty fast. And I'm like, slow down, slow down. I want to learn. I want to know what you're saying. And actually speaking, it took some time, because all that, like you had mentioned, learning that boring grammar, and making sure that I'm saying, I'm pronouncing words correctly, and I'm like
Yeah.
telling grammatically correctly. It was somehow created some limitation for me to actually go and speak and to the point like, forget it.
Mm.
I will just speak. They better understand me, or you know, or else.
Yes, if you want to communicate, yeah, you have to be kind of, have to get out of your comfort zone, basically.
Sure. So yeah.
But
So
yeah. That
even
being
though
said, I do like grammar. Sorry, it spoke at the same
go
time.
ahead. Go. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was saying that I also like grammar, though. It's just if you don't have a purpose for using it on its own, it's like, boring if you're just learning it. But if you have a purpose for it, that is great. Like now in my writing, I like grammar, I always try to get it right, so obviously. So I think it's important, of course, and spelling and things like that.
Sure.
But with American, British, and then there is Australian, Canadian, they all spell things differently. So I had to learn that as well. And sometimes I will still swap it, but I try to stick to one spelling,
Sure, definitely, yes. Yeah, I noticed that between, yeah, even like British and English, and actually having some Canadian friends. There was
Yeah.
funny that we had the conversation. So what I kind of pick up, um, they actually somehow saying when somebody calls, we in States usually it's more popular say I call you, and in Canada it's more kind of British I phone you. So I was around
Mm-hmm.
like Canadian person with actually some British kind of background and stuff, if I remember correctly, and and I know maybe that's what was the case, and all of a sudden I'm like, after a while we had conversation, and I picked up and not just to that person, but to somebody else, I'm like, I will phone you, and I'm like, I'm laughing at myself, like I picked somebody else.
I see.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
that
Yeah.
was kind
Sometimes
of
it happens. Yeah.
sure, definitely, yes. Yeah, so we keep kind of talking, bringing some,
Oops.
how some kind of potentially challenges uh, can be transformed, some personal, some language barriers,
Yeah.
some limited beliefs within ourselves, especially, when I believe when we travel, we kind of, open our horizons and to those experiences, and we get to, kind of just appreciate more of them. I guess that's the word, I guess, and the theme that I'm looking for, to keep growing our beliefs
Mm-hmm.
and taking kind of the best. And that's what I kind of learn, because many times like immigrants kind of somehow they want to kind of just put the stamps. There's some kind of fear that we don't want to assimilate so much with the new culture because we will lose our inheritance, and
Oh, I see.
and kind of bringing, and it's good, I know Polish, and I actually brought my daughter. We spoke Polish at home, and
Mm-hmm.
we actually what else? I sent her to like a Polish Saturday school, and there was
Mm.
definitely some resistance 6 day in school for 4 hours every
Yeah.
Saturday. So we were missing on some birthday parties, or
Oh dear. Yeah.
yeah, at some point she want to actually play soccer, and usually the practices were on Saturday, and we had Polish Saturday school. But what was actually a good experience after all of that, she took some efficiency kind of proficiency test in the Polish language, and she actually got some credits in her high school, English high school,
Oh,
and
that's good. Yeah.
credits in
Amazing.
college. So finally she saw the value.
Yeah, right. It turned out really good. Very valuable. Exactly.
Definitely knowing the other language. So that's kind of that, again, bringing that example, that story around
Mm.
overcoming, the beliefs that it's not worth doing something, you never know when actually you will have a use for it, and that from even like something that you're resisting, how beneficial it can become to still have somehow open your mind to the experience, and yeah, and enjoy. And even right
Mm,
now, yeah, she her kind of English is more than her Polish, but yeah,
I
sometimes
see.
like
Yeah.
yeah, she want to communicate to me in Polish, or like yeah, we somewhere around and we don't want to hear what other people for other people to hear. We just kind of start talking in Polish. So it's not that we're talking about them and stuff, but we just want to have a personal conversation.
Yes, I know how it is. Yeah, it's not very common, but here as well, there are a lot of Hungarians.
Mhm.
There are, but not, I mean, not that many.
Mhm.
But when you want, sometimes you have to be careful. You think there is no one that understands you, and you never know.
Of
You
course.
never know, that might be a Polish person next to you.
Oh, sure. Yeah, we were in the store. We actually were not that really nice because it was a line in store, and we were getting kind of frustrated, and think we spoke Polish, and
Yeah.
the clerk actually all of a sudden he like saying something, responding back
Oops.
to us in Polish.
That's funny. Yeah, that happened to me. Like at the store, I was buying something, and there was a Hungarian couple behind me, and of course, they had no clue that I was Hungarian. But they started talking badly about me.
Oh.
I don't know anything. I think they were just frustrated with me, like not being fast enough or whatever.
Mhm.
And then I overheard them, and I'm like, oh my god, guys, you're nasty.
And
It's
you said
like,
to them in Hungarian,
sorry.
and you replied to them in Hungarian.
No, I left it alone. I don't know. I didn't want to get into the drama, but it was kind of funny.
Oh, okay.
It
That would
happened.
be they would be probably in shock, if you just
Yeah,
start
yeah.
speaking the language.
Of course, of course. So I
Mhm.
just kept listening.
Oh, okay. They didn't
Yeah,
want to train him. Okay. Yeah, sometimes
mm,
that's all we can do, like you had
yeah,
mentioned, not getting into their dramas.
yeah.
It's on them, it was
Of course.
definitely hurtful, but sometimes we get to kind of rise to the kind of higher to the occasion and not get involved
Yeah,
in drama
exactly.
of somebody that kind of thinking small and willing to judge the other person, because
Hmm.
it's not to their
Right.
standard.
Uh,
So definitely, thank you definitely to bring that up. And yeah, we keep kind of the time is flying, and we
yeah, it
just
does.
yeah, talking about those experiences and overcoming the challenges, to a bunch of examples of different kind of areas of life, to between the like language and cultural experiences, um, to give the idea that it's possible, to live that American dream, and keep exploring and keep having those experiences. And when we don't like the one, let's create the new one. So
That's it, right? Yeah. Like
sure, that's
sometimes the current circumstances don't exactly reflect where we want to be. But sometimes you just have to ignore them a bit and focus on what you want and keep going.
and sure, definitely. And you bringing a really valid point, having that vision. And because
Yeah,
I know that helped me a lot, or how much I was able to accomplish and overcome the challenges moving to a new country, because I did set some goals, um, what I want to accomplish, and sometimes yes, got distracted, overwhelmed with things, but
for
I knew
sure.
what I want to do, and keep tuning into that kind of intention and vision helped me keep going and overcoming. um, and when sometimes it got too kind of heavy, and felt kind of stuck, that I cannot do anymore, like how about I will approach this way, and becoming more resourceful. And that's
Mm,
also from my Polish culture, living in the country, communistic country, and my parents kind of a bit so not everything kind of bad coming from the parents, learning some good stuff too, like being
of
resourceful.
course.
That was
Yes.
practice, and that can be applied to different areas of your life, finding the solutions for different things, not just kind of material things, but also yeah, how to have a better experience, how to approach that differently, some situations, circumstance, to um, yeah, so that's definitely. And yeah, the whole idea, like to be open. Actually, even when we boarded the plane coming to States, I'm like, there was, I don't know, some perception in Poland that Americans never kind of complicate their life, and usually it's kind of things are easy. So that kind of, I think, helped me to a certain degree. Um, that they I don't know, we were saying like they have like a picture kind of description of things, instructions and stuff, to help to make a life easier, to make the convenience of it. So I'm like, okay, there's like a language barrier, but it shouldn't be that difficult to
Mhm.
figure it out. so so kind of coming with that, it definitely was helpful. So yeah, so
Yes, I'm so glad. Yeah.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, so thank you. Yeah, thank you for letting me share as well some of mine, and I appreciate you sharing. So after you
Of
kind of experience,
course.
yeah, you're welcome. So after sharing, like being in states, like I don't know, can you share like and then traveling to different? I know you probably the most in Spain. So was it something like because of the culture or weather? What was that you decided to kind of settle there?
Oh, weather.
Weather.
Weather is great. I don't know. I had many different reasons. The first time I came here was also the language. I was really in love with the language that I wanted to learn and the culture. Um, Beautiful Spanish villages. Because year prior to moving here, I had a holiday here with a friend of mine, and we traveled around Andalusia, and discovered a lot of different places. And I was like so in love with it. And then next year, I made a move.
Mm.
So, but I only had a one-way ticket, um, and only 400 euros.
Wow. So there was no way back. You made it.
Well, I could have gone back, but I didn't want to, so I didn't. I made it work somehow. And I moved around a lot, in countries, within the country as well. I lived in different places, like in Barcelona as well, which was amazing. A really fun experience and fun times of my life. A lot of friends and a lot of amazing experiences. But most of my time, most of it I spent in the south near Marbella, and also up in the mountains for a year.
So
Um,
difference,
yeah,
like they have four seasons in the mountains there too, or
in the mountains it gets quite cold in the winter and very hot in the summer. So it's not on the coast. It's more balanced. Here we have beautiful weather all year round. Uh, some rain, of course, we do have some rain and some cold, but it doesn't get too cold, so it's quite pleasant. You can go for long beach walks, and I can sunbathe on my balcony now, like if I wanted to.
that's beautiful. Yeah, possibly that's why we have that background.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah, I love Spain, but I love other countries too. So
sure.
I enjoyed living in Switzerland as well. I love the UK too. I love American people. I love British people. I love everybody. They just have to be cool.
Sure,
So
definitely. Yeah, so
yeah.
so that's the thing, I really admire you for that openness and the
Thank
adventure
you.
kind of, yeah, you're welcome, spirit to take a chance to open up to the new experience, and yeah, and definitely learning. And it's, yeah, there's some challenges and definitely some courage, like you just overcame that, like decided like one way street, only like one way ticket
Yeah.
with limited funds, and how I will make it work. That's definitely, and same kind of
Mm,
like you coming to States many times, the immigrants, yeah, they coming on the one way ticket if they choosing to settle here, and with
exactly.
some limited funds, and they get to figure it out, and just move from there, and keep opening up. That's kind of the kind of overall idea, not feeling so stuck in the limitation, and telling yourself story, um, in a, that it keeps you in the same place instead of keep opening up and being more adventurous to the experience. Like, it's just experience, so let's try to approach that from different perspective, like find the solution to it, and just keep moving forward. So
Yeah, I think everybody who has this calling in their heart, to go somewhere else, you just have to follow that calling.
Sure, definitely. And it's
not for everybody, though.
No, it's not. And I think when you try at least once and stuff, it's like some people call it like you like want to do more of it. Like, I guess after a while, and then you great example of it, like you try, and try that, and you want to try some other cultures, some other countries. So just feel kind of more of the global citizen. I heard the term, I guess.
Totally. It can be challenging sometimes. For many years I have not felt very settled. So there are downsides of this as well, and you don't feel rooted everywhere. So
Sure, and that's kind of the part, I think, what I'm hearing with people, like not feeling rooted, but that's what they want to go for it, and kind of looking from the perspective that keep the mind open, and working on the feelings, definitely, to create some kind of groundness in, being okay, we going through new experience. That's what I wanted, and just, finding that. So anyhow, we've been talking for quite some time, so I guess we better share some of your poems at this point.
Oh, I'd be happy to, of course.
Do you want to read some? Couple or?
Yeah, so my book has 3 chapters. This is the book. It has 3 chapters. The first chapter is the heartbreak chapter called Sugary Lies, and that's more about manipulation, lies, of course, and heartbreak, deception, disillusionment. And then the second chapter is about true love and beautiful connections. That's called Matching Hearts. And then the last chapter is the sexy chapter with sensual poetry, and that is called Spicy Dreams. So it's up to you, Wioleta, what you want me to read. I could read, I have short poems, so I could read one from each, or I will not go very wild if you choose to read from the last one.
Possibly, we'll make it more of the PG, or I don't know what's the rating.
Right. So, I mean, okay, I can maybe skip the last chapter and just leave it mysterious. If anyone wants to find out what's in there, they are welcome to get the book or visit my page.
Sure, definitely, yes.
You can,
Yeah.
Yeah, so I do read a lot of sensual poetry, but I understand that might not be for everyone, or maybe not for everyone on the show, not for everyone who is listening right now. I'll start with a short piece from the first chapter that is more of a sad piece. Let me see, sorry. Okay, so it's like a confessional piece. It's titled Still Hurting. Only the pouring rain and sad love songs seem to understand this pain you left in the middle of my chest. A space once filled with hope and butterflies now became a hole, void of trust and happy lyrics. My heart stopped a cheerful humming, my lungs too tired to breathe. I can't eat. My stomach is filled with your nasty lies. Swallowing them burned my throat like acid, and now speaking the truth hurts my vocal cords. Nausea is pretending to be my best friend, and time is my enemy. Can I just fast forward to the day when I'm happy again? All I want to say is that I'm still hurting.
That's beautiful.
It's it is, yeah, it is sad.
It
There
is,
are,
but
yeah.
kind of can connect with some feelings, so very kind of
Mm,
descriptive and help you kind of, I don't know, get to what you felt. Kind of, I don't know how to better describe.
yeah,
So that was definitely captured. Yeah,
thank
very
you.
descriptive. Yeah, beautiful. Yes. Here's
Yeah,
some, yeah, with the February, the month of love, we have
yeah,
Valentine's Day. Let's hear
yes.
something about love, right?
Let's hear about love. Exactly. I have a lot of beautiful love poems in here as well. So here's one. This is titled "My Ultimate Destination." I was never courageous enough to wander off too far from the safe shores of my comfortable existence. But for you, I'd sail on ferocious seas. I'd wade through wild jungles. I'd conquer galaxies after galaxies just to travel to you, 'cause you're my ultimate destination. You are where I need to be.
Awesome. Short and sweet and lovely.
It's short,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like it has the travel idea as well. So I thought
Sure,
you might
definitely.
appreciate that.
Sure, yeah, definitely. Yes, yeah. So was it, if you don't mind asking, was it about like getting return to yourself, or more of finding your true love of in another person?
It could be taken either way. When I
Mm-hmm.
wrote this, it's also something that someone can say to you, or it's something that you feel so strongly about someone that um, you don't care about being comfortable anymore, because for them you would do anything. Like
Mm-hmm.
for them, you step outside your comfort zone, and as I write it, like you wade through the jungle and sail on ferocious seas. These are metaphors, of course,
Sure.
like to create a visual.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, it's that you do things that you were not doing before,
Sure,
just
definitely.
because you feel so strongly about someone, and
Mm-hmm.
by that they also make you a stronger and more courageous person.
Definitely, yeah. So thank you
Um,
for describing. And the reason I was asking, because I did experience that in my life, kind of married my high school sweetheart,
oh,
and it
yeah,
seems like, yes, that was like that was the love that I found, that I felt I was missing.
yeah.
And then kind of was wondering like why I was turning it on and off, and like how many was like years of experience and life kind of happened, and to the point of that self-discovery and deeper understanding that that actually experience deeper love is to learn to love yourself first.
Of course, of course. It's always,
Sure. And
we
it's,
have to come back to that. Yeah.
sure, definitely. And it's, you start kind of actually have a deeper love for others when
Hmm.
when you start like really experience. So it's not, for me it was just like my curiosity and stuff, like why, like I thought I'm like so in love, like, and
Yeah.
like that honeymoon, it will never end. And life
Yeah.
was happening, and like what happened, and we were so different. So I always puzzle around it, like how we connected of being so different, so opposite.
Yeah, that's so interesting, right?
Sure,
Yeah.
yes, and like, yeah, and I want to have a better understanding and actually better connection with my husband, and I was able to create that when I put more kind of work on that self discovery, and bringing more love
That's
to
beautiful.
myself. Yes, to
Yeah.
yeah, to experience that more of that in my
Mm.
relation and with my daughter as well. So.
Wow. Yes. It goes both ways, and it goes to everyone. All kinds of connections. Once you feel more connected to yourself.
Sure, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your beautiful poems with us.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for letting me read them.
Sure, definitely. Yeah, so for more we'll include the link to share to the page, right? And I believe
Yeah,
from there's a link to the you have a special Instagram for it, and it's beautifully designed and with some beautiful pictures and poems.
thank you.
You're welcome. And same the page, very kind of easy to navigate, but also with some beautiful combine your passion of writing the poems and the photography. It's beautiful. So yeah, so definitely look it up, and yeah, you can also support Olivia, and her book is on Amazon. So, and if you want to explore more, yeah, so definitely go there. So yeah, what would be the like a final quote or something that you want to leave the audience with, mhm, based on your experiences and
Oh, final quote. Okay, so since I'm a writer and a poet, I have a one-liner. Um, I actually forgot how it is. Okay.
okay.
Well, never mind. I can't remember now. But it
What
has a
the
very
meaning kind of behind it? If
um that there is always hope, because in the ashes of grief, hope will bloom again. So we all grieve something. If it's not exactly the death of a loved one, it could be a connection, an old part of ourselves that we had to let go of and move on. We all grieve in one way or another, but it is just a little reminder that from that, the ashes of grief, hope blooms and life blooms again.
that's actually beautiful and so well said in that kind of how to grow your beliefs and become a united human being to have that open understanding of the grievance, because many times, like you had mentioned, people associate that with like loss of the loved ones, not understanding that they might be actually going through that because of some other things like love
Yes,
or something else like I don't know, possibly like moving when you kind of travel and
yes.
feel that that loneliness in a new country, and having understanding and yeah, and moving on like with the hope that yeah, that will bloom, that the new experience become even better, that oh there is always a reason for something to lead us to a better place. Yeah.
Always, yes, yes, like death and rebirth.
Sure, definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful. So thank you so much. I
Thank
really,
you.
yeah, you're welcome. Appreciate you for all the shares, the golden nuggets, your wisdom, that out of your experiences, how it can help you with your personal transformation and keep moving on, and kind of nicely put it at the end how the hope can bloom, and definitely. So thanks so much again, and
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, Violeta. Thanks everyone for watching this.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for everyone who will check on the replay, and it will be available on YouTube shortly, and as well on the Facebook group American Dream Life. So thanks again, and sending you lots of love, joy, and peace. Until next time.